microphone, you're pretty much right on the mic. It's a very localized one.
You're making out with it.
All right, Brad, you ready? I'll bring it in, pass it on to you to comment real quick. We'll go into the race recap.
Yep.
Same old.
Same old, same old. I don't have a lot of high school stuff, so.
That's why I filled it out with college stuff today. And that'll give us a chance to talk about the new features on the website after Mike Kerrigan calls. I'll bring him on. Hello everyone and welcome to Running Maryland's The Runaround, brought to you by Holabird Sports here on ESPN 1300 AM. This is the only show around made by runners and track athletes for runners and track athletes. I'm your co-host Greg Jubb alongside Brad Jager here in the booth. Brad, we have an interesting show today. We'll be talking to Harry Goodman, one of the top distance runners in the Mid-Atlantic area from the 1980s. He's going to talk to us about road racing, past and present, and talk about how the landscape of road racing has changed over the past few decades. Also, Baltimore resident and elite marathoner Dave Verdan will be joining us talking about his racing plans for 2012. 2011 was a very big year for him, so we're excited to have him on the show as well.
It should be a good talk about how running has changed, road racing has changed in the Baltimore area over the past 20, 30 years. We're also going to have Dave Cooley calling in later in the show to talk about the same subject, and Dave's been one of the preeminent race directors in Baltimore for many, many years at this point. So should be fun. A
lot of different perspectives. We got to talk about it, see how things have changed. Certainly a worthy topic for this week. We're excited to have everybody on board. Let's jump right into the race recap then.
Okay, we're going to start with the high school races, and the only really big high school event this weekend was the MIAA and the IAM Championships down at PG Sportsplex on Friday night. Exciting meet with Gilman School winning by 1 point over Mount St. Joseph's, 152 to 151. It took Gilman to win the 1,600 meter relay on the last event to pull out the win over Mount St. Joseph's. I
love when meets end like that. That is something else. Keeps the excitement really boiling into the final event. You know, I'm sure very few people actually left the stands at that point, knowing what was on stake for both Gilman and St. Joe.
After the second leg, the runner from Curley went down right in front of the Gilman runner, so everybody was expecting a big to-do going over there. It was a nice little confrontation at the end of the race between the coaches and the parents, which made it even a little bit more exciting.
Right,
so.
Yeah.
The Ellie Gonzalez of Catholic won the 1,600 and the 3,200 for the girls, running good 4:57 and going out in 5:22 in the 3,200 before tiring down to an 11:03. You think that's maybe not a real big tire, but 11:03, she's run 10:54 already this year.
And if you watch her run, she likes to take it out. And it's funny to watch her because she really feeds off that lead. Some girls need, or some competitors in general, need someone to push you. But she can run by herself, and she can run those elite times completely solo.
She looked like in the mile, in the first 200, she went out in the middle of the pack and then took off after that. So it looks like she's trying to play with tempo running a little bit during the race. The other thing is out in Hagerstown this weekend, Hannah O'Neill of Winters Mill at the 2A West Championships, regional championships, ran 10:52, winning by a minute in that race. So that's the state leading time right now.
Very cool.
What else? The Will Meadows of Gilman helped out running a 4:20 mile, winning that, and came back to get second in a 2 mile in 9:41. Mike Wagner, the fantastic freshman from Loyola, won the 2 mile in 9:32 and was third in the mile in 4:26.
Remember the name, people. Mike Wagner, only a freshman, running 9:30s and taking championships.
Running 15:17 as an 8th grader last year, enough to make a lot of people sort of ill there. Mount St. Joseph's was really impressive in the sprints. They took a 55-point lead halfway through the meet off a 1-2-3 finish in the 55 hurdles. They put everything they had out there. They probably didn't have their top team out there in the 1,600 relay because all their best runners had all their 4 events in between the field events and the sprints. So they were a little bit of a disadvantage. Loyola almost got Gilman at the end, but Peter Merritt of Gilman was the big runner for Gilman that day.
Yeah. Moving on to college and the pros and open racing. Big meet this weekend. The New Balance Collegiate Invite at the New York Armory. The women's 200. Kimberlyn Duncan of LSU takes first place in 23.22 seconds, smoking. But Another Maryland native, Olivia Ekpone, formerly of Northwest High School, now running for Texas A&M, ran 24 flat in the final. She ran 23.96 in the prelims, which is something else. But as a matter of fact, she was only the third Aggie in that race. Let's see, Dominique Duncan and teammate Ashley Collier placed second and third. So she's running down there with some fast women. Clemson women getting it done in the sprints also. Brianna Rollins and Bridget Owens went 1-2 in the 60-meter hurdles, each clocking 7.97 seconds. And teammate Marlena Welsh, also of Clemson, took first place in the 400 running 52.2. Nichelle Mackey of Brigham Young eclipsed the Armory College record running 203.56. 4 women were under the old record of 204.5. Bunch of fast relays also. Hampton University ran 136.69 at the 4x200, and Clemson once again snagged another big victory running 335.58 in the 4x400.
In the men's side, George Empty, who went up against Alan Webb last week at George Mason, ran 102.25 in the championship 500, a real fast time. And Alan Webb this weekend ran 151, so he's coming back a little bit.
If he's improving at this rate continuously, maybe we will be seeing a big performance from him in this Olympic year coming up to Olympic trials in June and July.
Slowly but surely he's coming back.
And we wish him the best of luck. We want to see him running some big times again.
The 4x4, Texas A&M running 3:07 indoors. That's really quick. That's smoking.
Smoking for indoors. I mean, I know it's a bank track, it's a fast track. A lot of guys run, mid-distance times, run their PRs there. But when you get to running relays in 3:07 and it's only February, I mean, that's really something else. Also, another fast relay. Texas A&M and Oklahoma went 1-2 in the distance medley relay, running 9:29 and 9:30 respectively. Both teams broke Villanova's Armory record of 9:32. I'm telling you, expect these guys to be making some noise at NCAAs. They'll be mixing it up with Oregon and all the big names.
They've got the distance runners, they have the sprinters, what else you need? They obviously have some field event people too, so they always were big in the throws.
There you go. Just real quick, the Notre Dame Mayo Invitational, a meet that usually produces some very fast distance and mid-distance times. Shannon Osika of Michigan took the women's mile in 4:38, just above the NCAA automatic qualifying mark of 4:37. In the men's mile, Jeremy Ray of Notre Dame runs 3:59.31 to win, and now, in 2012, this isn't the auto qualifier anymore. The automatic qualifier for the men's mile in the NCAA is 3:57.90, so the mile field is just getting faster and faster each and every year. In the men's 3,000, Paul Schlemo of UNC Greensboro took first in 7:49, followed shortly by Andrew Bayer of Indiana, who ran 7:50. Both men were under the NCAA automatic qualifier. Let's go to the pros real fast. The New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Interesting meet setup. There was a women's 3K and a women's 2-mile. Never really see that, but nonetheless, interesting races. Tiranesh Dababa and Meseret Dafar split victories in each, both very great Ethiopian runners. Dababa ran 9:21 for the full 2 miles, almost lapping the entire field at the finish line, and Dafar ran 8:33 in the 3K. Something else.
Converting to a 9:13 2-mile. So all you high school runners out there who think you're pretty good at 9:40, you got a ways to go.
Yeah, well, check these guys out on TV. It's something else. Caleb Ndiku of Kenya outsprinted Ethiopia's Dejan Gebremeskel in the men's 3,000, both running 7:38. And another notable runner in that field, Matthew Senchowicz Jr., whom we interviewed not too long ago. He placed 7th, but ran 7:46 in a very competitive field. Big PR for him.
And he said afterwards he was still, even though he finished 7th, he was still very happy with his time. He's where he wants to be right now. He's going to be at the Millrose Games in a few weeks up in New York running the mile.
And actually be home in D.C. with his family, spending some time, getting his bearings. So if you get a chance here in the D.C. area, you may see Matt Senchowicz running around the neighborhood. Bit of a barn burner in the men's mile. Towards the very end of the first lap, World 5K champion Mo Farah of Great Britain was tripped and knocked down. He ended up resurging back to the pack, ran 3:57, got 4th. But it was Kieran O'Lioner, the former FSU star, running 3:56 to take the win.